Let's imagine you have all the time. You have all the unlimited resources. What are the things that you would do? Take a moment to process that. If you have a notepad, write down a few things. Take up a list. Write down the first thing you would do. Maybe you will be a doctor. Write down the second thing you would do. Maybe you explore data analysis. Write down the third thing you would do. Maybe you would like to be a writer. Just write down a list. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. All right, good. Now you have your list. Now, how can you do every single thing on this list without breaking down? How can you do every single thing all at once? So let's get started. So I've divided this talk into 3 parts so we know what we're dealing with here. So the first thing that you need to do is to create a plan. Most of the time when we realize that we have a lot of interest, a lot of passions and desires that we want to carry out, we always think of sacrifice. Oh, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to kill so I can pick up something new? What do I need to abandon so I can pick up something else? But the beauty of doing everything all at once is understanding that most of the times, achieving your dreams is not a function of sacrifice, it's a function of structure. What you need in bulk of the time is actually a plan. What you need is a structure that allows you to do every single thing you want to do, not to sacrifice one thing for the other. Because if you keep sacrificing, even what you're prioritizing now will be sacrificed in the nearest future. So let's talk about creating a plan. What kind of plan would you need to actually do every single thing that you want to do? So if you're here, you have on your list, become a doctor, be a data analyst, be a writer, travel the world. What else? Maybe explore photography. So what would a realistic plan look like for you? This is actually quite subjective, depending on what you have on your list in front of you and depending on the kind of person you are and where you're at in your life. But let's use me as an example. A couple of years ago, I would probably have been seated there as a student. And on my list, I would have photography, I would have writing, I would have design, to learn design. I would have public speaking, because I want to explore public speaking. And I would have content creation, like creating content on Instagram and YouTube. So a plan for me would look like starting a picture blog, something that allows me to actually put into use my photography skills and my writing skills at the same time. So I'm not just writing for my blog, I'm also putting up pictures. So I'm learning photography and at the same time I'm writing and I have evidence to show for it. So I would probably join a student club, a public speaking community where I can practice my public speaking skills, brush up my confidence levels, say I can talk in front of an audience, and say I can boost up my public speaking abilities. And then I would also have for content creation, I'll probably start a series on YouTube, be a weekly series or something on Instagram to make sure that I'm keeping up with content creation. So you might think for a second that, hold on a minute, there's a lot of things going on here. And how do you make sure that you achieve all these things all at once? And that's where the idea of structure comes into place. If you're familiar with the concept of context switching, you probably understand what I'm talking about better. And if you're not familiar with it, it's okay. You are probably practicing context switching right now. Context switching is when you're watching a movie, but at the same time, you're chatting with someone on your phone. It's when you're doing the dishes, but you're also watching a TEDx video at the same time. It's when you're listening to me right now, but you're also maybe texting someone on Instagram. So you're basically telling your brain to do 2 things at the same time. You're saying, hey, focus on the speech in front of you, and at the same time, let me reply this person ASAP. So you can actually do multiple things at the same time. You're already doing it the bulk of the time anyway. But the idea is now you're bringing it to the things that matter in your life, every single thing that you have on that list. So you have your plan. You have a number of things that you can do to make sure that your dreams are kept alive. And then you learn how to do context switching. Now, if you do this for a couple of months, you probably get to the point to realize that I'm not doing everything the way I want to. I'm not giving it my all. I want to be a writer. I don't want to be writing a blog article per week. That's not me being a writer. I want to write a book and everything. And you might get to the point to realize that you're not giving as much intensity to the things that you want to do, even though you're doing everything all at once. And that would be correct, actually. Because the idea of doing everything all at once is not doing everything 100% all at once, because that's almost impossible. The important thing about doing everything all at once is to make sure that you keep your dreams alive up to the point where you actually have enough time to do everything with the intensity that you need to do it with. And I'll explain what I mean. If you have a lot of things that you want to do on your list right now, data analysis, medicine, a couple of other things, and you figured out that I'll just wait until I have time, instead of exploring this idea of doing everything at the same time, context switching, I'll just give myself time. When I have time in the future, I'm going to do every single thing that I want to do. But just like we said earlier, you probably never have that time, and when that time actually comes, something else will probably take that responsibility. And this is what happens, and this is the third thing that we're going to be talking about, is the fact that dreams actually die. So while you're waiting for the perfect time to carry out your dreams, you're waiting for the best time to actually do what you're supposed to do, your dreams are taking a very slow way to the grave. Dreams die, and the way to keep them alive is to make sure that you're doing them. Instead of waiting for the perfect time to do the photography that you want to do, to explore writing, to try out data analysis, the best thing you can do is to make sure that you are doing every single thing in bits and pieces right now. And why does that change things? Why does it matter that you do it now as opposed to waiting until you have time? The difference between someone who is doing everything all at once, like you, in a couple of days, and someone else who is not, is that you're keeping your dreams alive. You're not waiting until 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, you don't even remember that you wanted to do some other things. You are reminding yourself every single time you put up a blog with a picture that I'm still going to do this photography big time, but this is what I can afford right now with the time I have. You are reminding yourself every single time you go for your club meetings, for public speaking, that I'm still going to talk in front of a big stage someday, but right now this is what I can do. It's a reminder to your dreams that they are staying alive. It's a reminder to yourself that you have those dreams, and it's the best way that you can actually keep your dreams alive. So the idea of doing everything all at once is to make sure that you have your dreams alive and they don't die. So while you're waiting for the perfect time, make sure you're doing something, and make sure you're doing everything all at once. Thank you.